So, welcome to this session on equipment, and I guess in particular, equipment that I would recommend and equipment that I would not recommend, and what the key issues are with each of the different bits. So, all I'm going to talk through today is equipment that you'll use in your training, rather than animal husbandry or pet care at home. So, we can't really talk about training equipment without talking about leads. So, I'm going to get my visual aid here. I have a lead that I would particularly recommend. This is a Halti style training lead. They are about 2 meters long, and they have got a hook on each end, and they are really useful for basic skills training. They are 2 meters long, but you can obviously reduce them depending on exactly what you're doing. I love these for basic skills training, and I would also get a 5 meter version of one of these as a long lead. You do not need longer than 5 meters for basic training. It is more likely to get tied in a knot, wound around someone's legs if they're too long. So when you're first training, definitely just 5 meters, and wide and soft like this, rather than a thin rope or thin nylon. Always ends up cutting hands as well as getting in knots. And I don't think there's any trainer anywhere who recommends the use of an extendable lead because of the potential for injury, and also for single point failure. They can just pop apart in your hands, but they can cause soaring injuries, and the number of behaviour incidents caused by a dog on an extendable lead being allowed to go too far from the owner's a little bit unaware, can cause disasters. So fixed length leads are better for a whole range of reasons. So that's leads. Can't talk about basic kit without talking about collars. So for what it's worth, I would recommend a leather buckle collar like this, rather than one where it clips together. A buckle collar, a leather one, again, it doesn't have that single point failure if you have a plastic clipped collar. My old boy Brandon had a plastic clip collar initially, and one day it just went pop. He wasn't pulling on the lead at the time, and I just went, oh, that's a shame, and I put him on a slip lead as we went home. So leather buckle collars are often better, and I love that style of pet ID tag. It's called a flush tag. They are agility tags, because the ones that dangle, they jangle, can be really irritating for the dogs and invariably fall off at some point and have to be replaced, giving you a window when you're walking your dog without ID tags. But for basic training, we don't recommend working just with a collar and a lead. We recommend working with a body harness. I'm going to reach into my dog's playpen, get a visual aid. So here is my next visual aid. It is a dog's harness. But I imagine the dog's head is where my fist is, and this particular body harness, if I let me just clip it all up for you, has 2 points of attachment. 2 points of attachment are really useful in training. So this is the dog's head here. You've got the lead can be attached here, but also, oh, there's one there. And for dogs who need extra help, that extra attachment there is really useful. This is a True Love harness. I don't particularly recommend the True Love harness. It fits some dogs really well. There is another harness called the Perfect Fit harness, which again, I wouldn't particularly recommend, but it is a good harness. The most important thing about your harness is that it fits your dog well. So don't just get one brand and put up with it sliding everywhere or cutting under your dog's armpit. So spend time making sure you're happy with it, and be free to return ones that do not fit your dog well. You are particularly looking for, with a harness, if the collar sits up here on the trachea, you're looking for a harness sitting on the breastbone of your dog, so lower down, so that you've got a safety gap there, so you're not pressing into the dog's soft tissues. I would also heartily recommend that your dog has a mat for basic training. Ideally a bit of vet bed, but you could use a bath mat that you are repurposing, or a microfiber doormat. They call things like muddy mat. They hold scent really well. And because dogs' brains are wired for scent primarily, the mat becomes a bit of a scent-based as well as a visual cue to your dog to relax. I'm going to grab my next visual aid. Right, off. My dog is standing on the mat, which I am trying to move. This is a good example of a mat. This is Annie's mat. It's a piece of vet bed, and then we can take it out to high arousal environments, and she knows what to do, which is relax on it. It needs to fold up and go into your training bag. So no mattresses, please, and no blankets, because blankets blow around, and invariably blankets are used as bedding. This mat is not a bed, it is your training mat. So we need something which is going to be used specifically for training and for you to do things like when your dog settles in the pub or at a cafe, that they can lay down and know that that is a clear signal that they are going to relax. It needs to be one that can go in the washing machine, and vet bed can, as well as bath mats and microfiber mats. The final piece of kit that I feel quite passionately about is the treat bag. Treat bags are often, well, they need to be bigger than you think they are. The small ones with a drawstring top are very common. If I could encourage you all to go for a larger one rather than a small one, that would be great. I particularly like the ones that fasten up around your middle, and they're in the style of a bum bag, because they allow you to have multiple pockets. You can take your dog's drinking bowl or water, as well as space for a toy, because as you progress in training, you need to be able to whip a toy out pretty quick, and you can't do that if you've got a tiny drawstring treat bag. Please, no plastic bags in the treat bag or separate. What a plastic bag tends to do is it means you give your dog the treat at slightly the wrong moment, and you can end up reinforcing the wrong behavior. So can't recommend enough a good treat bag, or if you've just got a pocket in a jacket that you're wearing, but definitely no plastic bags. Now, here is personal taste, but something that I have found. Some people have over-the-shoulder bags, and I have just been trialing one of those, and I have to say it doesn't quite work for me. So depending on the sort of walks and training you do, what can happen with an over-the-shoulder bag is as you bend over to, say, scoop a poop, or if you are running, if you are doing agility, the bag has a lot of movement, and you can end up bashing your dog's face as the bag swings away with you, or it can rattle around so much that things fall out of it. But as I say, personal taste, some people love the over-the-shoulder bag. I suspect people who do a lot of agility or have multiple dogs or do a lot of training, they may prefer a waistband strap, or you even get ones that clip around your leg as well, and they are really good for holding lots of things and staying with you when you run about. So they are the main bits of kit that I would recommend. But we really should just touch on toys. Now, I said I'm not going to talk about animal husbandry, pet care at home, but toys are important in training. So if you were to get nothing other than these two, I would recommend you get a food-based toy, typically a prey dummy or a fluffy pencil case that you can put a few treats in, and it is a starter level scent work toy. But also, for a lot of dogs, a tuggy toy is really compelling as well. So just have a little think about the two things that perhaps your dog enjoys doing the most. It could be tuggy, it could be search, it could be fetch, or even catch. and get 2 toys to serve each of those behavioural needs. But if you don't know yet, then a tuggy toy, something like a bungee ball on a bungee from Tuggy Enough, and something like a prey dummy that you can put food inside, or a soft pencil case. Obviously, with both of those toys, you're not going to just gift them to your dog. Instead, they are for you to use in your training to reward them. And if your dog doesn't have much toy drive, that is a discussion you need to have with your trainer, because building toy drive is possible. So if your dog is primarily food driven, like Lawrence the Labrador certainly was for the first year of his life, you can build toy drive. And if your dog is primarily toy driven, you can build food drive. So any comments or any questions, please feel free to let me know. And I'd be really interested if any of you have got any particular pieces of kit that you would definitely recommend to new dog owners.